Well, today I'm really excited because I'm interviewing Michelle Moore. She is an amazing photographer, and not only is she amazing, she's so humble and approachable. Michelle is the person who trailblazed the way for senior photographers using hair and makeup. So she's really the innovator in that. But not only that, her expertise is really found in her natural posing techniques and helping her clients feel instantly at ease. We're gonna learn so much from this rich content that Michelle shares with us. Make sure you stick around because at the end of the show, she's gonna be telling us of a special discount that's only gonna be given to Snap Society members. Hey Michelle, thank you so much for joining us here at the Snap Society. I'm so excited to have you.
I'm really excited too.
Okay, well today, first of all, we want to see your office. It looks amazing in the background, so maybe we can take a look a little bit later. But I just kind of wanted to talk about your journey into photography, maybe some setbacks that you've had. And then I want to talk about Instagram. You are amazing with social media, so you're going to give us several tips for social media. So make sure you listen to the whole interview so you get that. First of all, can we see your office?
Well, it's kind of messy, but you can see like over here, I have a little table where my makeup artist works on all my seniors, and the mom chair for moms to hang out in. And then I just have like an assortment of products and stuff behind me that everyone can look at when they come in. And then over there, it's all my like file cabinets and dead plants. So
Nice. I'm so glad that I am not the only one that kills plants. Okay, so all right, so tell us about your journey. How did you get started in photography?
Well, so I've been shooting for, oh my gosh, like 15 years now, because I started when I was in high school. And I used to take photos of my little sister and clouds, a lot of clouds, which is really random. But my mom had got me one of those, the cameras, I don't know if you remember them, but there's 3 settings. You could do regular, panoramic, and then some other odd mode. Okay. And it was called AB or something, and it was a little bit smaller than 35 millimeter. Okay. And so I used to take pictures of clouds, and I would shoot in the panoramic mode all the time, and I thought it was super cool. So that's kind of what got me interested. So I was still kind of like experimenting, and then I went to the University of Washington for college, and I didn't do any photography my freshman year at all. But I had some friends that were in a band, and they knew that I liked photography and that I had a nice camera, and they asked me to come to their show. And when you're 18 and 19, that's super cool because you get to go be on stage and you're the badass photographer. Yeah, right. And so I used to do a lot of band photography, and that's kind of how I really got started. After that, I did music and bands for a couple of years, and I would do band promo shoots and CD covers for local indie bands. So that's kind of where I got my feet wet in the business. Do you want me to keep going?
Okay, so when was that? How many years ago was that?
This is a really long journey. So I was 19, so 11 years ago. So I think it was 2003, 2004 is when I started doing that. Okay. And so then how did you get into senior photography? I shot my first senior in 2007. And at the time, I had just started a WordPress blog. Okay. And blogs were kind of like the new thing in 2006, 2007. And I remember I posted a picture from that session, and I was really into my SEO at the time, and I was noticing that people were like Googling senior portraits and coming to my website over and over and over again. And that was like the #1 thing that people were visiting. And I remember when I had done it, I had done makeup included with the session because I had already established a relationship with this really great makeup artist in Seattle, and I just knew that every time I worked with her, the quality of my work was just leaps and bounds beyond just like any other regular photo shoot. Yeah. And I really liked shooting the seniors. I was really young, and so I felt like I could really relate to them. And because of that, I decided that I would try to do more of them. And so really because of that first shoot that I did, I decided I was going to market a package that included hair and makeup.
Okay.
And so I had a lot of friends that had younger siblings or people that I knew that were in high school still. So I just started shooting them or photographing them.
Yeah.
And it just sort of took off. And nobody was doing hair and makeup as a thing at that time.
Right.
And it just like immediately became this thing that was brand new that no one else was doing. And it was just like blew up. It was crazy.
Yeah. So, and now this is sort of the thing. Like if you do senior photography, if you specialize in senior photography, hair and makeup is going to go along with it most of the time. So I think it's really cool that you sort of trailblaze the way for that. And that really made you stand out, I'm sure.
Yeah. And, you know, in 2007, 2008, that was the first year that high school students were actually allowed to sign up for Facebook. And so it was kind of all these things happening around the same time. And so I found a few senior reps and photographed them, and they put their photos on Facebook. And then everything that I did just was word of mouth. And because I included the hair and makeup and no one had like successfully done that at that point in time, it was this new thing. And it was something that made me stand out. And I also was I am still extremely passionate about my seniors because it's so important for me to, it's such an important time in their lives.
Yeah.
And because I have a younger sister, it's just always kind of been a passion of mine to help these girls just see how incredibly beautiful they are. And it's just, you know, we're so bombarded with magazines and, you know, now we have Instagram and Pinterest and all of this stuff going on, and it's just like I really just want to give them this amazing experience where they can just see how I see them and how the world sees them for who they are. And you know, the hair and makeup I do, it's always been really, really natural, and it's just to like emphasize natural features. And so that's just always been what I've been about. And so I think having that, like I know what I'm about, and really like having a strong message really helped like catapult my senior portrait work.
Yeah.
As a career.
Okay, so for somebody listening now that's starting out, Facebook is not the place to be for seniors. It would definitely be Instagram, right? But do you think that you could still get that amount of exposure and excitement going with Instagram? Like, could somebody just coming, you know, up last year and this year, could they get as much recognition through Instagram as you did with Facebook when Facebook first started?
I definitely think so. I don't think Facebook is entirely dead yet. Like I still think that there's there's still some good use for it. Right. I still use my Facebook business page. And the number one reason is because if you tag your client, even if they're not on it, their friends might see it, or actually their moms will see it, and the parents are the people that are paying money.
Yes.
So if you're using Instagram really well, and a potential client comes across your Instagram and falls in love with you, it's good to also have your work on Facebook, because maybe your mom has seen it, and so when the girl's like, oh, I found this girl that I want to shoot my portraits, then the mom, you know, may have already heard of you, and it just kind of helps sell it. But Instagram is really new still, and I've heard of people that are having really good success with it, and I've kind of started to find the ways to make it work for me. And so I'm actually really excited to talk about some Instagram tips later.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't necessarily wouldn't just like rely on Instagram at this point 100%, but definitely if you're posting a lot, you can use it and curate it in a way to get clients.
Right. Yeah, and I totally agree with you, because I do family photography, which my target is the mom, and they are on Facebook. And so everybody is kind of disregarding Facebook, but the mothers are on Facebook a lot. And so I love what you say about, you know, duplicating that, having them see it. The kids may see it on Instagram, but the mom may see it on Facebook. The more people can see you, the more your name pops up. And if they feel like they already recognize your name, that just gives more credibility too. So I think that that's really great to not disregard that. Okay, so before we start talking about the Instagram tips, is there any like setback that maybe you had, or anything along this journey that was discouraging that maybe you could encourage our people with?
Well, I can't think of one major one because I don't think I ever really looked at it as a setback, but I definitely have had moments along my journey that have been very trying and great learning experiences. It's kind of funny actually, because when I started out as a wedding photographer, the first wedding I ever shot was actually one of the worst experiences I ever had with a client, and it was completely awful, and I'm surprised I ever continued to be a photographer after that.
Yeah.
But I think I was just, fortunately, when you're so young and naive, I don't think you really understand what you don't know yet, and
right.
so I luckily just kind of moved on from that. But over the years, I've had bad clients, I've had bad situations, I've had everything go wrong. And I think at the end of the day that photography is 150% what I love to do. And so I've never actually ever seen it as a setback, or I want to like give up, because this is like my life and what I want to do. And I think each time something bad happens is to look at it as a learning experience. And, every situation I've run into has actually really helped me to write a better contract and to better communicate. And it's taught me a lot about communication. Really, I think that's the number one most important thing is to over communicate, and don't be afraid to, lay out your expectations and ask questions, and, give your clients all the information that they need, and don't be like afraid of that.
Yeah,
and I think that's really the things that have helped me along the way. And we've all been there. Any photographer that you look up to who tells you they've never had an unhappy client is lying.
I can't imagine somebody not being happy with your work, though. So that is probably really encouraging for people to hear that. That it happens. Yeah, it does.
You just can't please everybody. So.
Yeah, and I love what you say about over communicating, because I think that we think, well, it's on the website, they should know this, but how many people are actually going to read everything? Or I sent them an email about it. I make sure that the really important things I actually verbally communicate during, like before the shoot, after the shoot, at the reveal, and make sure that they know. And I may sound like a broken record, but I think they appreciate that because they know it, whereas they don't feel in the dark at all when they're working with me, So that's really good. Okay, so what advice would you have? I mean, you are breaking into commercial work now. This is crazy. You go from, doing senior photography to doing this commercial work. So how did you get your name out there? How did you start doing this? Did you have connections? Spill it, girl.
Oh my gosh. So this is definitely like a new journey for me. So I'm still trying to make it in that market. It's a completely different can of worms than my portrait market and my portrait work. And, I've been really using, I think that for commercial work, it is all about your connections and who you know. And I know that everybody says this and harps on it, but it is 100% true. And if you don't know the right people, then you got to get out there and meet them. I'm always like reaching out to people and meeting up with people for coffee. And the biggest thing is that you can have your work online and your work can speak for itself. But if a client sees your work, they also want to know who you are. They want to know that they can trust you on set, that you're going to be professional, that you have the right attitude. And just like getting, out in the real world and outside of your screen and meeting these people will take you so much further than just posting your work online over and over again, or just, cold calling or cold emailing people. Because for me, really, it's my personality that I think sells me a lot. Like I love to be on set. I am just really easygoing and relaxed, and I know how to deal with things that are going to happen on set that fall apart. and just, you know, act a professional. And so that's a really huge part of it. So you want to be thinking about exactly the type of like work you want to be shooting or the clients you want to go after. This applies to anything, like whether you're a wedding photographer, you want to break into senior photography, you want to break into maternity photography, whatever, is you have to have the work online so that when people come to you, they see exactly what you're doing, because they're not going to see, oh, you're a great portrait photographer, and be able to translate that into wedding photography in their head. Like, they need to see the actual work. And so I just kind of rethunk my website and put it up in a way that is geared towards commercial work. And so now I'm kind of working with the people that I've been working with. I have a couple of great commercial clients in Seattle already, and just working with them as much as I can.
So did you do small, like did you ask for small, people that you knew that maybe had small boutiques or something like that? Did you use them to get your portfolio going and then started? Okay.
Yeah, I have a client that she owns a boutique here in Seattle, and I've just known her for 8 years. And when she did her first lookbook, you know, we were great friends already, and so we did that together. And then I've had a great relationship. I think we've shot like 7 lookbooks together now, and you know, finally from that, other people are seeing that work, because not only do you have to do it once, but you have to do it over and over and consistently, because it's not enough for someone just to see you did a great shoot once, because that could be a total fluke. Like, they want to know that you can do it and do it well.
Right. So then how did you get in with Free People? Did you know somebody?
One of the stylists from the Bellevue store here in Seattle wanted to work with me, and it's part of her job. She's a visual merchandiser for the company, and part of her job is to create work for social media and for the blog. And so we collaborated on that shoot, and it was submitted and accepted by the blog. And so it was just really awesome.
Yeah, that is so awesome. So basically what I'm hearing here is definitely networking with people and getting face-to-face with them, getting over coffee with them. I think that is something that people forget to do, because it is so easy to do it over social media. And but you don't really establish a major, like a big connection with people when you're doing it that way. It's bigger when you're actually in person. I mean, it can start the connection, but, and then also asking for feedback. I love that you did that you were asking for feedback, and then you were sort of working with the feedback that you got to make what you do even better. So, oh my gosh, there's a lot for us to take in here. Okay, so
I feel like when you get me going, I just start talking, and then I can't.
No, we love it. I love that. I love all the information that you're giving us. But it's a journey, right? It's a journey. It's not just like you got lucky. I mean, you definitely work towards this goal. So I think that's really important for people to hear. Okay, so with social media, oh, go ahead.
Oh, really quick though, I think the other important thing for people to hear that might have kind of gotten lost in the story of my career is that it took me 6 years to get to senior portrait photography, of like working hard and doing everything and anything to support myself and my business before I was doing seniors full time as my like only source of income. So it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of time, and people, I think, you know, especially with the proliferation of images like everywhere online, is to remember that it takes years. Like,
So I am really starting to love Instagram, but the one thing that is my pet peeve is that you cannot click onto a link. Like, that's my pet peeve about Instagram. Yeah. So I need to hear any positive thing you can give me about Instagram right now, so that I can continue to fall in love with it and not be discouraged with it. So let's have it.
I know. I wish that you could click on links. There's 2 things that are missing. 1, to be able to click on links, and 2, to be able to switch between accounts, like you can on Twitter when you're on your phone. So Instagram, please make this feature.
Yes.
But yeah, so I just got I just got back from NAPCP, and I did a whole talk about, you know, curating your online presence and sort of how everything ties together from your website to your social media. And from that, I've been doing a lot of Instagram research lately, and just kind of come across these things that have really started to work for me, because I've really started to dive into Instagram and using it as like my main social media. And the biggest thing that is so important is that if you're using Instagram for your business, it has to be public. You can't have a private account if it's your business name.
Okay.
I don't want to have to request to follow you because you're using it as your business. Okay. If you want to post anything personal, make a separate account. Don't name it anything similar to your business name. Post the pictures of your kids or whatever. But anything that is your like Michelle Moore photography related, and if you choose to be personal on that, and that's part of your brand, then that's great. But you can't have it private. Second, is that you really have to curate it. You have to think of Instagram as an extension of your website and as an extension of your branding.
Okay.
There's been so many times where I've come across a phenomenal photographer online, and immediately I want to go follow them on Instagram because I love their work. And I go to their Instagram and they have like 40 posts, and it's like really bad filters from. It's just nothing like that describes it's no photography at all. It's just like a random repost and a quote and a picture of their dinner or something. And I'm kind of turned off by it because, you know, I go to Instagram, and people go to Instagram because they are in love with your brand, and they want to follow it on the daily. And so it really you have to think about it. It has to be at the same level as your website. Yeah. And conversely, I've come across really amazing young up-and-coming photographers on Instagram that have beautiful work. And then I go to their website, and they haven't updated their website in a really long time, or their work is not the same reflection. And so there's just a disconnect. Mm-hmm. And so you want to first curate it. Yeah. So I do a mix where I alternate between you know, some kind of landscapey, outdoorsy, or detail shot with, and then I alternate it with one of my, you know, fashion photos or portrait photos, and so that way there's a good mix, and it kind of pleases both, you know, groups of followers that are following me, and then that way it's not just like pretty girl, pretty girl, pretty girl. It's like mixed up with other things, and you know, I try to kind of relate it back to my life, and you know, I really love to teach, and so I try to, you know, throw in some good advice here and there in the comments or the description. Yeah. And I have a really quick question.
I know a lot of people, and I have actually figured this out, but I do know that a lot of people are trying to figure out how do they put a picture that has already been edited and looks really good onto Instagram because it's not on their phone yet. So how do you do it?
Yeah. Okay, there's a couple ways that I do this. Is I edit it on my computer and I resize it, you know, to a smaller JPEG and email it to myself. Open the email and then save the photo. Or if you use Dropbox, you can use the Dropbox app on your phone and just upload photos to like a folder that you made up to post to Instagram, and then that way you can just log into your Dropbox and save that photo and then upload it from there. So that's kind of two ways that you would do it. You just need to get it on your phone, basically.
Right.
Okay, so tip number 3 is to use hashtags. Okay. However, use them wisely. Okay. Hashtags are a way that you can add a descriptive word to your photo so that people are searching for it, they can find you. So, for example, if I posted a portrait, I might want to do hashtag Seattle photographer, hashtag Seattle. There's a hashtag I really like to use called make portraits. So I could do hashtag make portraits. The thing is you want to pick like 5 to 10 really super well thought out hashtags and not just hashtag 80 things and put them in your comments because it looks really annoying. And so what I like to do is I will post a photo and upload the description, but I won't put any hashtags in that. And then the first comment, I will immediately comment on my photo with 5 to 10 hashtags. And then that way when people start commenting on it, they essentially go hidden. So when someone comes to it, they don't just see a bunch of hashtags.
Okay.
It takes 4 comments, I think, for it to kind of, get folded away, basically. If you go on Instagram, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. But the other thing is to use hashtags that people are also using. So if you go, so there's a way to go online on a web browser and look at your Instagram account. It's called Iconosquare, and you can basically kind of search hashtags, and it will tell you like how many posts there are of that particular hashtag. And so I like to find hashtags that are kind of in the middle of the, like, not if you use hashtag photography, like there's 5 million people have used that. Right. No one's ever going to see that because people are using it so often that it's getting refreshed and your photo will get kind of pushed away.
Okay.
So I use ones that have like, 20,000 or 60,000 tags. And then that way they're not being used quite as frequently, but they're being used. So if someone is searching by that hashtag, they'll probably come across yours if you posted it in the last 24 hours.
Okay.
So I try to think about hashtags that like people are actively using and that might find me. I don't necessarily think teenagers are like searching hashtags. They don't really use hashtags, but I think what I do as a photographer is I look through other hashtags. And this leads me into one of my other, I think, tip 4, which is to think of Instagram as a community. You have to put into it what you want to get out of it. So I use hashtags to search other people that I think I would be interested in and who would also be interested in my feed.
Right.
And I look through them and I comment and I like and I follow accounts, and that's what's really been successful for me, is to use it as a community, to like people's photos, to comment on people's photos, to go and follow them back. And then if you have a well-curated feed on your own feed,
right,
and you're finding the right people, they're going to come and follow you back.
Right. Yeah, those are all really awesome tips. And you have created a really great community for yourself. So I think that all these tips kind of go along with that. So what's the 5th one?
So the last one is to basically stagger your posts across other medias.
Okay.
So what I do is I'll share my Instagram post on Twitter.
Okay.
And I won't share it the same exact second I'm posting on Instagram. So I'll post it on Instagram, and then maybe 6 hours later, I will share it on Twitter. So it's basically getting it in front of another set of eyes at a different time of day, and then sending a new wave of people back to your Instagram.
Do you schedule it, or do you go back in 6 hours later and then have it go to Twitter or Facebook?
I'll go back in and do it. I know that there's some like scheduling apps that you can use. I haven't personally gotten into that yet, but what you can do, this sounds like a lot of work, but when you click on the photo on the little like 3 bars at the bottom, like the 3 little dots at the bottom, and you click on that to share it, is I'll copy and paste like the description or like a piece of the description. I'll go into my Twitter and paste that.
Okay.
And then I'll go back, and then I'll say copy link, and it copies the link of the Instagram to your clipboard. Okay. And then I go back to the Twitter, and then I copy the like Instagram URL that people can see when they're on the computer. Okay. And then I post the photo to Twitter. Because if you just share your Instagram post to Twitter, it just shares a link and the text, but not like a photo. Okay. So I'm actually posting the photo a second time to Twitter, but with my Instagram information. Okay. Because what happens is within 7 days, that photo is going to be indexed by Google. And so you're just getting your work out there further on the web. So if you use hashtags with your Twitter post, or you have, you know, relevant search terms in your Twitter feed and someone goes Seattle photographer, then that photo will show up and then we'll take you back to your Instagram.
Okay, so a big reason why you're doing this is for the SEO of your site.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, wow. See, that is something totally new. I mean, I haven't heard of people doing it for that reason. That's really great. Okay, so how many times do you feel like you need to post per day to really feel like you're in there and you are a part of something?
I think 2 or 3 times a day is the maximum. I wouldn't post, you know, 3 photos right in a row or 80 photos in a row or once a week. Like, you really want to be posting a couple times a day. Okay. I like to get one post in really early in the morning and then a post in the afternoon and then a post in the evening. Okay. That would be like my ideal schedule. You know, this is what I have found for me is when the people that are looking at my account are online the most. So you want to really start to notice when people are liking your photos or commenting, and try to tailor your posts around when people are going to actually see it, because as Instagram's grown, more and more people follow a large amount of accounts. So if you're following 400 or 500 more people, they might not see your photo, and so you want to post it a few times a day so it's top of mind. Okay, so great. All right, so our 5 tips. I'm going to go through them right now just so that people have a good, overview of them. Number 1 is have your business account be a public account, not a private account. The second tip is have it be an extension of your website. Make it look cohesive between the two with the type of pictures that you put up. Use hashtags wisely. I think that's so good because it is really annoying when you go and you see all these hashtags. You're like, okay, it's just distracting. So I love that. And think of Instagram as a community. The last tip is extending your reach across all the platforms. So not just Instagram, but using your Instagram posts on Twitter and on Facebook. Michelle, I am just so thrilled that you came on and that you shared so much information with us. I just love it. This is definitely an interview that I could go and watch over and over again. And I have one more. I just want to tell you, and I shared this with you at the beginning of our interview, but it is amazing to me how humble you are and how willing you are to connect with the community. I think that's something that I admire most about you, and that I hope that other people will take that, see your example of that, and as they grow in their photography, that they will stay down to earth like you are. I love that about you. So thank you for being who you are. You inspire us in so many ways. So thank you, Michelle, for coming on, and I really hope that we can have you again sometime. Now, you wanted to share something with the Snap Society, a discount. You want to tell us what that is? Okay, so I'm going to offer everybody 50% off of either one of my products. So I have a posing guide that is for senior portrait photographers, and it's a really in-depth guide. It's not a posing guide where it's like, here's a photo and copy this pose. It's a way to actually learn how to be comfortable with posing and directing your models in a natural way. So it's more like I'm actually teaching you how to think when you're on your next photo shoot so that you can start to learn how to pose on your own without having to look at something to copy it. Love that. And then my other product is it's like an e-workshop, so it's PDFs and videos, and it's all about in-depth how to curate your brand and to curate your portfolio to get the clients that you want. So it's really awesome because it's really going to go in-depth with a lot of the stuff that I talked about curating your Instagram account, but as a whole. And one of my favorite parts of that is there's a worksheet that you can print out so that you can produce your own portfolio shoots, and kind of walks you through the steps on how to do that. So if you're wanting to venture into senior photography or any type of photography, that workshop will really help you with just understanding how to do that. And that one's priced really great already, so when it's 50% off, it's only $20.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Thank you so much for being so generous. And I just want to remind you, everybody who's watching, the way that you're going to get this discount code, it will not be put up on our website. So you have to become a member of the Snap Society. Becoming a member is free. All you have to do is sign up with your name and your address either below this or on the sidebar, and then you'll be getting an email from us next week with that code. So thank you so much, Michelle, for coming on to the Snap Society. We appreciate your generosity. And thank you for watching the Snap Society, where everything clicks.